that you find the training sessions illuminated. So I'm just talking and expecting the facilitator for today to join in. She appears to be having a bit of a hitch, but I expect her to join in a minute. In a few seconds, I'll start reading out her citation in the hope that she's able to join in while we are it. Okay, so good to see you, Joy. I was just holding off to get you to log in. Apologies for that little glitch on our part. So welcome, Joy. So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Distinguished delegates, today's session will be on practical issues in establishing and running a law firm. And our speaker for today, our tutor for today, is Joy Harrison Abiola, MCMIFSM. I'll just do a short biography of Joy before then yielding the space to her to start the training. Joy Harrison Abiola is a leading legal management professional with over 23 years in the industry. She is the practice administrator of Denton's Acres Law, providing strategic oversight to all the business support functions of the firm. In this role, Joy plans, coordinates, directs, and is responsible for high-level leadership in areas of finance management, business technology, process and operations management, client and business development, talent management, etc. She acts as an advisor to the partnership, providing subject matter input into strategic formation and implementation. She sets and monitors performance and operational metrics for the firm. Her passion is to increase organizational efficiency and to get everyone to work at the peak. In 2008, Joy was instrumental in putting together the first law firm management development program, MDP, at the Lagos Business School, an African university, in collaboration with the Association of Legal Administrators, ALA, Illinois, USA. She possesses a demonstrated track record in advocating and interacting with law firm leaders to institutionalize business best practices in their law firms. Joy believes that management in a law firm is not an appendage, but it is core. For law firms to survive and thrive, they must pay attention to developing the multidisciplinary skills and competencies required to run a successful business. Joy is a columnist with This Day newspaper. Her column, The Back Office, explores what law firms need to do to remain competitive and relevant in today's economic climate. It also looks at the ways to re-engineer and awaken the dynamics of the contribution of the legal management professionals to better position them to provide practical solutions to the challenges facing law business. She has authored articles like New Week, Surviving the First Years, Any Vision for Your Practice, COVID-19 and Keeping Staff Loyalty, A Firm of Lateral Thinkers, Workforce Productivity, Coronavirus, and Performance Evaluation Process, etc. Joy is the president of the Association of Law Firm Administrators Nigeria, ALAN. ALAN is a professional association that exists to provide support and to enhance the development of professionals responsible for the operational and management of law firms. ALAN is affiliated with the Association of Legal Administrators, Illinois, USA, since its inception.
Because still nothing has happened. We have expected that
in 2008. I think someone has got their Yeah, I think you should meet her. Okay, so it's my pleasure this afternoon to welcome Joy Harrison Abiola. Joy, I'll be yielding the floor to you, and I'm sure we'll enjoy this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tobena. That was quite long.
It was.
Well, but I'm really glad to say that I will be adding that I spent a great afternoon with very distinguished people to my CV. So thank you so much, Tobena. It is really a pleasure to be here. I feel honored to be here. And I want to say thank you to DOA also, the Dean of NBA ICLE. It's just been a pleasure getting to know DOA over the years. Thank you so much. And I must salute Mr. Olumide Akpata and the entire leadership of NBA. This is one of the many amazing initiatives, future forward initiatives that have been, over the years been really now coming out of the NBA. Really exciting. I am honored to be a part of this project. And my thanks, absolute thanks, goes to the distinguished ladies and gentlemen on this platform this afternoon. Like I said, I'm really honored to be a part of this and to spend an afternoon in very good company. So I have been, I describe myself as having been like a student of the anatomy of the legal profession for 2 decades and a half. So I've been in a law firm, working with lawyers, working in law firms for about 25 years. And in my career, I've had the privilege of working with about 5 or 6 managing partners, and presently with one of the best, Kemi Shegun, Felicia Kemi Shegun of Denton's Acres Law. So I have been privileged to sit with lawyers to gain a lot of insights. I love to get into the minds of lawyers, understand how it works, because it is a brilliant mind. Lawyers are brilliant. And you're just, every time you work with lawyers, you're pushed to the next limit, so I am happy to be here. And yes, administration is not an appendage. It's one of the tripod stand, the tripod stand that will advance this beloved profession. So I am truly honored to be here, and I expect to have a great time. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing too many people, but this is intended to be an exploratory conversation where I gain a lot, I understand better, so that we can push better this profession to its limits. Because I am of the school of thought that we have not scraped the surface of the potential of the legal profession. I believe that the legal profession should be, and is indeed, if you look at its history, it is and should be the core of any economic or social development in any community. So it has absolutely to get to its full potential. It has to move, from a history, and I know that we have moved in the past 60 years. The profession in Nigeria has evolved tremendously in the past 60 years, because if you look at the history of it, and it's still evolving. Every profession evolves. Every profession evolves. Medical profession, just look at where it's coming from, and many, many others. And from my experience, I've started my discussion because it's really going to be me trying to just share my thoughts and hopefully get some feedback. And then we look at ways that we can go and model some of the things that would be, some of the thoughts that would be thrown up. So if you look at several professions evolve. I'm also, interested in the medical profession, for instance. It has evolved tremendously from the past 60 years, from the past 40 years. Amazing things are happening in surgery rooms. What implements that they used to use a couple of years ago has become completely not useful, completely out of place right now. So as every profession evolves, it also behoves it is important that the legal profession, which is underpinned by conventions, and from my experience, lawyers hug their conventions, they hug their precedents so closely and do not want to let go, but it is so important. And I've been in quite a number of the sessions, and I've heard so much talked about in terms of the need to evolve. One of the things that does help professions to evolve is different perspective, getting in different perspectives. Professions that evolve always get deep into research, get involved, more people involved with different perspectives, so that there is not, you don't have a group think. And I think that's where the business professionals come in, because the history of the law, it's been a struggle even to accept for a long time, especially in this, but I know that we've gone past that, whether it is a business or it is a hallowed profession to be protected from, outsiders. Yeah, and that stance would only result in Plato, in you being in any profession being stagnated. So we need perspectives, completely different perspectives. We need also demographies to be brought to the table, people that are younger, because the future is really, really the young. Great time, looking forward to deeper discussion. So I will quickly just share my slides, and then we will continue the discussion. Interestingly, I'm speaking about practical issues, and Dewey has very graciously reminded me that, I could just, sorry, I just need to get this out. Please, could you confirm if you can see my screen?
Joy, we can see your screen.
Great,
we can see
thank
your screen.
you.
Thanks. Yeah, nice.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm just gonna also try. Right, so I'm speaking on practical issues. Practical issues in establishing and running a law. That this topic speaks to something I'm really interested in, and that is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship entirely for me. Just a second, I also want to, okay, I'll just go ahead. Sorry, for 1 second, I'm going to stop sharing and see. Again, my screen is frozen, not sure why. Stop sharing. I'm going to try and share it again to see, hopefully it will move. Or are you able to still see it? Okay, good.
For some reason, okay, it's back on, Joy.
It's back on, but it's not moving, so I'm not sure.
It's not moving, is it?
It seemed to be frozen on the outline.
Ouch.
Okay, so I would see what I can do. Okay. Otherwise, okay, so basically this topic speaks to the entrepreneurial spirit. And I've spent a few years doing some research about startups that took the entire world by storm. because it's really interesting for me. And also spend some time looking at what is really an entrepreneurial spirit. What does being an entrepreneur entail? For some reason, I can't move this slide. If I can move my slide, I may have to stop sharing the slide and just speak, if that's fine.
Yeah, Joy, that's fine. Go ahead.
Great.
No
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So practical issues in establishing and running a law firm spirit, like I said. And who are entrepreneurs? They are people that have very strong vision of what can be, of possibilities. Entrepreneurs are very curious people. Entrepreneurs are people that can take very limited resources and turn them around. So I am going to start by saying also that most times we need to look at lawyers, not just as lawyers, but also as entrepreneurial lawyers in order to enable us move to the next level. Entrepreneurial lawyers, I will use that word throughout my, my presentation. They are individuals who want to transform, who transform their ideas, or if you like, their calling, because lawyers believe very strongly, and I believe with them, that they are priests in the sacred temple of justice. So they do have a calling. But entrepreneurs are people that transform that calling into fully operational businesses. So establishing and running, practical tips in establishing and running a law firm presupposes that we are talking about people who are interested in starting a business and who are interested in that thought process, what it entails. One of the best definition of entrepreneurship that I have come across is this. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity beyond the resources currently controlled. And an opportunity can be myriad, a lot of things, but it is the pursuit of opportunities beyond the resources currently controlled. And entrepreneurs are always pushing the envelope. They are learners. They want to continually increase in the knowledge of what they do, not just the technical knowledge, because the law firm, by definition of a law firm, is simple. A law firm is a group of people that are working together to deliver legal services for profit. A law firm is not a not-for-profit. It is established and it should be run to earn profit, to increase the wealth of its owners and of its employees and of its clients and of the community in which it operates. So the law firm also, for me, in defining it, is, the legal profession. It's a law firm is an organized activity or efforts by lawyers to provide legal solution with the intention of building a going concern, an enduring entity, organized activity. So without a law firm being organized, there is a challenge. And the organization should be increasing, should be evolving, should be developing. So lawyers, again, a law firm is a profession, a professional service. If it is a professional service, if it is an organized activity or efforts by lawyers to provide legal solution with the intention of building an enduring entity, it means that it has to be taken to the market. And it means that it is subjected to market forces of demand and supply. So if we're talking about entrepreneurship, some of the great of entrepreneurs is that they have absolute clarity or purpose, or I could remove the word absolute because there are no absolutes. But entrepreneurs, a group of lawyers coming together, must have clarity of purpose. And another feature of entrepreneurs is that they find their niche. They look for needs. You would pardon me today because I'll use a lot of words. I am not a lawyer, so I'll use a lot of words that are not legal, or they're probably not legal. It does not conform to the usual legal languages. So, and a great entrepreneur or whoever it is that is looking at establishing or running a law firm would need to focus on priorities. Great entrepreneurs focus on priorities. Great entrepreneurs understand how to measure performance. Measurement is part of how measured gets done. So they are risk takers. Entrepreneurs are highly adaptable also. So if you want to be a law firm that will be relevant for the future, there are some conceptual knowledge that we should have. Because when we talk about entrepreneurship, we are talking about how do you go to the market. You're talking about you have
Joy, we appear to be struggling with your volume. Hello, Joy, the audio has a problem at your end.
Forgive me, my internet seems to be going in and out. I'm sorry about that. Hear me now.
Joy, no, I'm struggling to hear you here. I'm trying to
Can
look
you
at the
hear me?
comment box.
Oh, wow.
No, we're not hearing you. There's a difficulty. Try again.
Oh, wow. Oh, my.
Okay, better now.
So then if you have my slides, you can put it on because this is the highest. Oh, wow.
Okay, we're hearing you now. And then I'm going to get your slides up. Yeah? No
Okay.
worries.
Please put up my slides. I'm sorry about this. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now, Joy. Just continue.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so in establishing a law firm, I would say that the first thing that is most important is you as an individual, the entrepreneur himself. So before you bring people around you, you need of clarity and you need knowledge. I mean, I think that this has been repeated too many times. You need knowledge beyond technical knowledge. And you need competencies way beyond legal technical competencies, because the law practice has definitely gone beyond the man, the principal, his sons, and the dog on the leash, with all the systems in his head, all the systems very close to him. The cabinet, the filing cabinet is in his office. It determines monies that are to be disbursed. It has gone beyond that. So firstly, we need to look at the individual. What is it that is your vision? What do you want to accomplish? What is in your heart? So I will run through some theories that have been spoken over and over again, but I'll just run through them because they are important. Theories are important. Conceptual knowledge of business is important, because when you get stuck or when you want to evaluate where you are at any given time, you should be able to go back to your bag of tricks or what you call theories. One of the most important for me is vision or values. I put values before vision. Values, vision, and mission. They call it the VVM model, but it's very simple. And then the POLC, which is the Polk framework. This is called your planning, your organizing, your leadership, and your controlling. Like I said, what gets measured gets done. What gets controlled, also gets done. So, and also we'll look at another conceptual theory, which is called the McKinsey 7S model rather. And I know that Sylvia Nzeku spoke a lot. Sylvia is my big sister, one I consider one of the foremost legal management consultants. She spoke extensively about strategy. So we'll look at those things, then I will go quickly into practicals, bringing it home, 7 law firm must, and then my favorite topic, which is just looking at dinosaurs and what it portends. Now, for the individual who is starting out, who is looking to establish and run a law firm, you need to firstly establish your values. What are your values? For me, the foundation of any firm is the values of the sponsors, the values of the visionaries. And you have to be strong on values, because values to me are characters. They are principles. And if you are not strong on values, the fact is that you cannot build to last. Values are clearly stated principles that drives a person, that drives the vision of a person. And it helps with alignment. If your values are not clear and you start a firm, you will not have alignment. If your values are not clear and you go into partnership, one of the biggest problems in partnership is that there is no shared vision. There are no shared values. So values beyond, okay, I want to start a firm. What would be the structure? What is the startup capital? Who is my first client? Should I have a sole proprietorship? am I built for that, or should I go into a partnership, or should I do an LP, a limited partnership, or a limited liability partnership? All those are structures. But beyond that, what is your values? Because the next slide talks about values again. Your values are the lens through which you evaluate every business decision. So values like ownership, efficiency, diversity, risk-taking. So I have worked with law firm partners that have very strong sense of excellence. Excellence is one of their values. I remember my training in excellence. With one of the firms that I worked with, even coming into your firm, the office, the reception, it speaks to your value. You know, I once had a managing partner that would go around the office and just put his hands on the wall, and if he sees dust, you know, something is wrong. Initially, I was much younger then. I used to think, oh, why would he do that? But you are strong as your weakest link. Dust in your office tells a lot about your value. So my slide number 4, if you can see, talks about values. Establish what your values are. Another thing about value is that if you do not have values, Tomini Owolabi spoke extensively about identity and brand. Branding is identity. Your values would drive your brand. Branding is not color, it is your identity, your core. If you're a person of integrity, ethics, accountability, principles, you know, if you are a person's person, team builder, it will show in your law firm. So again, we are talking about practical issues in running and establishing a law firm. So a quote I have here is that if you falter in values, you will flutter. So your values, your identity, and it will also affect your leadership style. Next, we'll talk about vision. Vision, if you see my slide number 6, it says that a vision is a vivid mental image of what you want your business to be at some point in the future. The potential for the future. What is that potential? It has to be clear, if not entirely clear, at least to a large extent. Because by the time you start bringing people around you, that they want to be able to share in that vision. So I've worked with managing partners that would always sit with you and tell you all the time where they are going to, what they want to accomplish. When you rehash what you want to accomplish, it drives, it forms a drive. So presently, we have a situation where evolving doors. We have people, a lot of this called the great resignation, the great transition. And I think that one of the things that may stem that is a vision that is compelling for the next generation. If you have a vision that is compelling and you are able to share it with the next person, with people in your firm, and get their buy-in, and they see themselves within that vision, it helps you run your law firm. So a law firm there should be communication. Communication is not one way. You also listen to the people that you are working with so that you can identify where they want to go and where the law firm is going, and if you are all going in the same direction. So also, the VVM model, the M there stands for mission. Any law firm that is established is on a mission. And when you talk about mission, it includes structure, process, strategy, leadership, and so on and so forth. And of course, effective evaluation. The POLE framework is, again, repeating the same thing. You cannot have a law firm without planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, mission, strategy, human resources, and properly managed human resources. You cannot have a law firm that is not clear on leadership style. And leadership means being decisive. And one of the primary of an entrepreneur is decision making, very decisive. So most law firm pick, or most law firm play to because of this reason alone at all, or going around trying to get consensus and maybe getting consensus for 3-4 years without making a certain move. A lot of the industries that are very nimble, like the technology industry and a number of these companies that are very nimble, very fast, you discover that they are quick at making decisions and going to the market when they have established some certain facts. Again, you cannot run a law firm without some financial control, operational control, and I have said that before, effective communication. McKinsey's 7S model is the same thing. Structure, system, strategy, skills, style, and staff. But the middle of that, the middle of the McKinsey model is shared values. And a law firm thrives on shared values. And I've spoken extensively about values. So I will go straight to the practicals. Now, to run a law firm, you need, I call it the 7 law firm musts. So Bernard, please, could you confirm that you are on slide 10? Oh, wow. So Bernard, please, can you confirm that you're in slide 10?
Joy, just continue. Try and sort it out. Yeah?
Okay, okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so the 7 musts for law firms are promotion, people, place, process, and profit. Okay, product means is really simple. You must have a product as a law firm. Forgive the word product. For you, it will be offerings. For you, it will be service. But services that are static would mean a law firm that is static. A couple of years ago, I think the section on business law had a seminar, and we had a gentleman called Mr. Imokweden, and he said something about the law firm. My
Joy, you're
internet
muted.
is really,
Joy, for some
really,
reason, you're muted.
Not cooperating. So, no, I'm not muted. So I was talking about the 7 musts.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me? So I'm talking about products. Mr. Imokweden was
talking about
one of the things that okay, product means your offerings. What are you offering? Why is it? And I think that one of the challenge for the legal industry is, in order to price open the industry, is to have a market segmentation, is to have offerings that are innovative. Tomini Owolabi talked a lot, spoke about that, spoke about innovation, spoke about blue water, going beyond the normal offerings of the law firm, because there are extremely many areas of the law that we can get into, that we can innovate into, and we need the young people to even push it more. So it's not the conventional product. It is where the clients are going, and clients are getting more and more sophisticated. Now, when you talk about promotion, that word is put in parentheses because of the RPC. And I'm glad, Tobenda, that you have said that you would look again at the RPC, because law, being a business, is subject to the market forces. So how do you take your business out? How do you project your your offerings? How do you project your offerings? How do you make it relevant to the needs of the industry, to the needs of the nation, to the needs of the community? How do you innovate into areas of law that will elevate mankind and in time bring the profits? So we talk about promotion. I know that ordinarily I've had lawyers over the years speak to me, especially when we during evaluation, tell me that lawyers do not promote themselves. Their work speaks for them. But right now, the legal profession is in competition with several industries. So we need to know how to project. You can delete the word promotion and talk about projection and talk about being relevant in today's market. And then the issue of pricing. The issue of pricing is very important because pricing is a product of understanding the input into what is the input? How much are you spending? What is the cost of your product? What is the cost of the offering? It affects what that pricing will be. And of course, there is people, place, process, and profit. Those are the seven must for a law firm. So in moving forward, the next slide, I'm talking about practicals. When you bring it home, people, I will just talk about two of those 7 P's. The P's again are price, people, place, profit, and process. I will talk about process and people. For people, we know that we are a people business. People matter. The key to running a firm lies in the successful management of 2 key assets. And the first key asset being client relationships. And the second being the inventory of skills, talent, and knowledge. How do you manage those 2 key assets? Your clients, your people. People, because we are a people business, people should be at the heart of every strategy that you have. So even if you start with one person, there must be shared value. Your values must be shared. Your vision must be shared. And whatever it is that individual, if it is you are starting with one person or 2, and there are firms of 100, there are firms of 200, it must be a convergence of purpose in order for you to thrive. So mind your people. And I will zero it down to minding the millennials. Why do I want to talk about the millennials this afternoon? I want to talk about the millennials because they are the majority of today's workforce. And of course, the Generation Z, the Gen Zs have also joined our workforce. Oh my God. The Gen Zs have also joined our workforce. So why do people matter? Why do this set of people, these young people, they are 50% of our workforce today are the millennials. How do their mind work? They are important because they are reimagining the workforce. We stand at the brink of a technological revolution, and it is being pushed by millennials because the millennials themselves are increasingly becoming our clients. So how do their minds work? 3 in every 10 millennials believe that meetings determine the course of action. So they do not consider that your Monday meetings as as critical. So we need to look at ways to have meetings with millennials that would be, in many ways, that would be productive. 79% of millennials do not want the regular partner, the regular boss. They want a mentor, they want a coach, probably a friend. And law firm owners, they need to come out of a leadership bubble and become people again. There is what is called management becoming people again. Become a millennial, think like a millennial in order to keep more of them. Slide 15 also tells us that 74% of millennials that make 50% of our workforce today prefer flexible working hours. 72 of them would like to be their own boss, so they work very independently. There are many more very important statistics concerning millennials that we should get familiar with, and you will see some of them in my slides. In the year 2025, it is expected that 3/4 of the entire working age people will be millennials, and of course the Gen Z. So we need to understand how they work and their independent mindset and what makes them tick. So automation, innovation, adequate compensation, professional development, career advancement is very important to them. So your ladder, your promotion ladder needs to be clear, and we need to increasingly, evolve. You need to look at your promotion ladder increasingly and see if it is relevant for the now. This set of people also love collaboration, and they also love authentic leadership. So in essence, we need to build strong relationship with the millennials. And to run a successful law firm, we have to build a tech-savvy law firm with a respective collaborative structure. Now, in talking about people, you need to determine what kind of people do I want to bring on board. Again, you are the entrepreneur in this law firm discussion, or in the law firm, you are the central person. In as much as I understand the key man relevance, and I do not want partners to be disincentivized, and I know that it is important that we look at the finders or the rainmakers. We also need to look at the minders. We need to look at those people, the entry-level people, the people doing the work, the people looking at the relevant laws, the people doing the research. So what kind of persons do you want to bring into your law firm? Who do you want to get on board? From who your partner should be, you need to be clear on that. Do you think the same way? Do you have the same constitution? Even if you have your differences, can those differences be agreed upon? When you finish with process, even up to your receptionist, who should my receptionist be? And if you do not write, nowadays we have what they call the e-receptionist. So there are law firms that don't even have receptions, physical receptionists. There are a lot of things that there are electronics that you can use for that purpose. So if you go from people, so from your back office to who your practice administrator, so in terms of running a law firm, competencies, several competencies are required that goes beyond technical competencies. And that is why you would need a back office persons or what we call the business support professionals, because they will also help you with process. When you talk about process is key. You must have contextual intelligence. Like I said, our law firms are different. I can't tell you how to run your law firm, but it is important that you understand your law firm, you understand your history, and you understand the context in which you operate. If you understand the context, when you have gaps, all you need to do is put a process in place. Right now, I'm working on 3 or 4 processes. Return to work process. We're working on remote working processes. And after the International Women's Day, where we had an open discussion, we're working on processes also around diversity and inclusion. So we are constantly writing processes as we interact with the system and with the people. So if you understand your context well, you will write your processes, and your processes have to be written. And processes should cover things like client engagement. You should have a process for that. When does it begin? Processes should cover things like knowledge management, document management, finance and internal control. All these things we would speak about. I would say that only a well-run business can be an efficient professional firm. And as an entrepreneur, you are constantly looking at gaps in your profession and how in your law firm and how you can close that gap. In terms of space, the other P, the other must for a law firm is what we call place or space allocation. Interestingly, there are many virtual law firms, and law firms are becoming more and more virtual. I have a number of friends that have reduced their floor space, and we will see that happen over and over again. In the past 2 years, in my firm, I mean, we have run a remote working with amazing business support people. We have run a remote working operation in the past 2 years. So we do not see, most firms don't see themselves coming fully into a space. So in terms of space, we have to be very, very, very cost conscious when it comes to space. So the days of, oh, I need a side office 32 square meter is gone. We need to manage physical spaces, and the standard floor space. I have a colleague who is excellent, a facilities manager in one of the leading law firms in Nigeria that is excellent. His name is Obiora. He's excellent at space management. So every individual, physical space usually is between 7 to 12 square meter. So in most law firms, we find out that there is a lot of waste of space. There is a lot of waste of space because space is money. And you need to look at how much space you have and how much space you actually need. And again, it depends on your law firm and on your vision. So deploy appropriate office furniture. And also there are best practices in terms of what is the size of the space an individual requires, what is the size of the desk. It should not be so bogus that it takes up too much space, because space is money. You also need to look at minimal features in your space. So you ensure that anything that is not needed is discarded. Make sure you also use flexible partitioning so that it can easily block walls are not the best, especially in these days. And anything that is not useful. A lot of law firms are filled with things that should clutter. You need to declutter because it takes up space. And right now, we talk about hot desking. Most law firms are actually looking at a situation where they have minimal space and people come in and work based on what it is that they require. You have a hot desk, you just plug in your computer and you go ahead and do your work. So I just want to maybe stop here and just reiterate again that the profession is evolving. There are so many issues around the law, the practice of law. There's the human resources aspect, there's the process aspect, and there's the people aspect, there's the profit aspect. But the most important person to start with is you as an individual. What is it that you want to accomplish? What difference will your law firm make? And when you have that clear in your mind, at least to start with, you can then move from there to accomplish whatever the vision is that you want to accomplish. But you have to be clear on your values, you have to be clear on your vision, you have to be clear on your mission and your structures, and then the structures around you will fall in place. I hope that you've been able to hear me. I'm available if you want to contact me to maybe discuss some of these things further. But Tobena, I'll just stop here if you can hear me, and if there are questions, I'll quickly.
Thank you very much, Joy. Of course, I heard you. That's why I'm on. And
great. Okay.
I must say, I found the presentation very illuminating, but I'll comment further on it after we've taken the questions. It's a bit unfortunate that we had instances of problem with the audio, And also
Yes.
we struggled to get the slides up. But just for the benefit of the delegates, we're going to circulate the slides because a lot of you have been asking about them. Interestingly, Joy, what I see from the comment section is that if you have a few ideas, it appears, about how to run a law firm, yes. I'll just make the comment generally that this particular topic, establishing and running a law firm, is very broad in scope. But the establishing angle of it is one that I think is so fundamental to what we do. So I see some of the comments, and I feel a bit, I don't know, horrified by them. Because if you think that the largest law firm in Nigeria is 100 or so lawyers, so in other climes, one would struggle to call 100 lawyer law firm a law firm in the strict sense of it, or even describe it as such. So I think it's something that we all need to pay particular attention to. And thank you for a very brilliant presentation. I'll comment generally at the end. Now I have a few questions from some of the participants. The first one is, and I can butt in on this one when you're done, is would it be out of place to take a loan to set up a law firm?
Would it be appropriate to
out
take
of place?
Would it be out of place?
Yes.
My take on loans is a no-no, and that's very personal. That's very, very, very personal. I believe in starting from ground up. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is that
Joy, that's why I said I was going to butt in there, because I sort of thought to myself, this is the answer that Joy was going to give. Yes. Well, I mean, I have a bit of an interesting perspective to that question, because one of the things that any human being will think about when setting up a law firm is the source of funding of that law firm.
Yes.
And I think that anyone who starts a business and starts it on the premise that the business will turn a profit immediately might be on shaky ground, because it is mostly an unknown territory. At a time, unless you have a lot of following, I mean, so it depends on where you're coming from, where you're going to. But I know that in setting up a law firm, you must think of funding. And funding comes in many variations. So I know, for instance, in other climes, that people sort of remortgage their property to take loans to fund their business. Generally, it is a bit risky in Nigeria because of the financing operational environment. So if you were in a country that understands your business proposition model and says, okay, we'll give you a moratorium for a year, for instance, and then this is how you pay back, then one would say, or in a climate where the financial structures are so sophisticated that you have huge overdrafts, depending on the kind of business you're running or your business plan and proposition, then I would say, well, that would be an option. Of course, taking a loan will depend on your ability to pay and your covenant strength, all of those kind of things. But I just think to make the point that whether you take a loan or you raise money, whichever way you do, of course, money is an important component of establishing a law practice, and it's something you must think about. But weighing and assessing your risk, even in taking that loan, is also fundamental. But business is about risk. So, I mean, it's a choice for you whether you want to take loan or raise money from other sources. This is my view. Now, Joy, the next question is, please let us have your slides. Very insightful. I can answer that for you, Joy. Then we'll have the slides at the end of the series. And then this other one.
Sorry, Tobena, can I make a comment concerning funding?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is really personal though, and I'm not sure the composition of our audience, but again, the history of my law firm, for instance, started on the two gentlemen shaking hands, and they raised funding, like you said, probably came from soft fundings are available, and if you have people that truly believe in you, maybe from your from your circle, you could say, okay, you could raise soft funding. But especially in our climate, we need to be very, very, very careful about loans, ability to pay back. Before you even do any venture capital, you must have a business plan. So I think it would be interesting, really, if we even have more lawyers taking loans. Lawyers are very risk adverse, but more lawyers taking loans to run law firm would be throwing your cap over maybe the younger people. It's like throwing your cap over the wall. And you have to be able to show a trajectory. You have to be able to show a line of growth that will say, like you said, to break even might take a while. So, but when you start small by first building capacity and starting, there are virtual law firms. And I don't know if I'm speaking with a lot of young people right now, but I know of a lawyer that was sent to some village in the north and started a practice that became so prosperous within his community in the north without money. But again, like we say, ability to take funds, you should be able to have clearly how you want to pay back when you break even, and funding is important. In the UK, I know that there are companies there are law firms that are listed. In many clients, there are law firms that are listed and they can raise funds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. And I was just going to say that it is because of those types of questions and issues that our members encounter every day that the MBA has what they call an access to finance scheme now. And it's going to be rolled out in a week or so, where lawyers can borrow money as low an interest rate as 9%. However, I mean, Joy, you're absolutely right. Once you're thinking of how to take money, you must think of how to repay. And a bank that is not satisfied that you'll be able to repay is not likely to give you a loan. Okay, so then moving on, someone else asked, how best could new lawyers be recruited?
That's a great question. That's been one of the burdens I've carried over the years is I've seen the law school churn out lawyers, 5,000 to 6,000 lawyers yearly. And firms like mine and quite a number of firms can probably take 8% of those that are being churned out. So how best could lawyers be recruited? I think that we should actually start from the law school itself. We should start from the law schools. More law firms should actually get into the law schools and be involved. I'm so excited about what the MBA is doing because we talk about a dearth of lawyers, of competencies. I know a lot of firms, there is a talent war going on. And I keep wondering, how can there be a talent war when we have 5,000 to 6,000 individuals being churned out from law school? What are the competencies that are missing? Why are we not able to get lawyers, that commercial lawyers, for instance, or those other areas, lawyers that company secretaries or governance, lawyers, oil and gas lawyers? Why is there shrinking? I hope you can hear me, please. Why is there a shrinking of these competencies? How best can we recruit lawyers? I think that we should start from the law school. A number of law firms that I know abroad, they do from every year, they go to law schools, they go to universities, they source for lawyers, they have chairs, they have all kinds of funding to support the training of lawyers. So from there, I really do not think that there should be a dearth of competencies. And then the lawyers that we have right now, the competencies they have, we should raise people, we should mentor people, we should pour out into people. Those are entrepreneurial lawyers. And I didn't talk about succession, but I think that in discussing this topic, practical issues in running and establishing and running a law firm, succession is key, because from the get-go, you must know how to replicate yourself. So I hope I haven't spoken too much. I mean, right now we're using a lot of headhunters that are from the that are from overseas. Why?
Yeah. So Joy, thank you very much. I mean, I also thought that question was a very interesting one. And I'll just make the general comment that I think the difficulty with having a productive society is what I call the people question. So it doesn't matter whether you're recruiting at a law firm or wherever you are. Recruitment is a big issue. I think most times you don't even pay enough attention to it in Nigeria, because I think if you get the right workforce, productive, qualitative workforce, that's most of your problem solved. But it's a combination of competencies and also attitude. Sometimes you have people with the right competencies, but then they struggle with their attitude. So, I mean, it's a big question, but I mean, I think Joy has answered it very well, so I wouldn't comment any further. Now, the next question is, wouldn't the idea of projecting our law firm or law business go against the rules of professional conduct? Joy, I don't know whether you want to dabble into that one.
So the RPC you will look at.
Yeah, it's the big elephant in the room. And I will just say to the person who's raised the question that it will be good to look at the RPC very carefully, right? And always be conscious of the things that you will do that will contravene the rules. But whether we like it or not, what is going on in the space is that people have different ways of projecting what they do. If you write a book, if you write an article,
Indeed.
If you're seen in a transaction or known to be in a transaction, and certain announcements are made in relation with that, some of them are even statutory announcements that must be made. Those types of things project your law firm, and put you in a given light. You know, so it's important that you understand that image is everything. But we're noble professionals, and there's the way we carry ourselves, and the rules are quite clear on what you can do and what you cannot do. But in this fast-moving world, we need to understand that there are certain things that help you showcase yourself as a professional who knows what they're doing. Professional sites like LinkedIn, the places you go, how you network. Yeah, but you just can't come and carry a placard and be advertising yourself, you know, or do things that are in contravention of the rules. Mm-hmm. So I have another question by Mrs. A. She says, what is your view on having many law books displayed in the office, as this was the room or things that shows off a law office? Mrs. A, are you looking at my shelf? Sorry. Yeah, that's what you know.
Knowledge has become so, and that's what you're doing, Tobena, democratized. It's just everywhere, it's fleeting. Your entire bookshelf is one CD. What is, if CD is not even the word anymore, that's old.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it makes you feel knowledgeable, if it makes you feel good, that's fine, but it's space. And I was talking about my friend Obina Anyang, who calculates every space, you know, and ensures that it's being paid for. So if it makes you feel important, if you think that it's good for your brand, that's fine. But where does knowledge should be inside of you, and you using it to make a difference in the society and with your clients who have issues, who have challenges. So my view I mean, it's good to have a great library. It is what the profession has been known for all through the years, but also look at the future and what is relevant. And also the future workforce, what will be important to them. Books are important. Displaying them on the shelf is really not the most important thing, but having them right inside of you, having that capacity. But I think the most important thing is the knowledge you need and how to access it. Legalpedia, a number of others, and the NBA is doing so much, really. A number of those platforms that you can access the knowledge that you need where and when you need it. I think that's more important than it being displayed. Our space is shrinking increasingly, but
so we have
the library is important.
We have a few more questions, but I think we are already out of time. So I'll just take one more question and then we'll close for the day. So this person says, my question is, at what point post-call can a lawyer run his or her own law firm?
So Pena, I think you will be in a better position to comment on that. But what I would say from my experience, because I've worked with a lot of young people, the young people are very impatient, you know, good and bad, you know. But what I'd say is that you need to hone your skills. Law is not something that, you know, it's different. You thrive on knowledge. You can't be a fresh in a frying pan. You cannot, you need to, as long as it takes you to get the skills, the competencies that you require. And it is much more than technical competencies. You need to know how to manage people so that there will be less flights from the profession. So there's a lot to learn. And I know I'm familiar with the NBA, SBL competencies, the competencies. So there are a lot of things you need to learn. It can take you 2 years, 3 years, as much time as you need to hone your skills, to discover your niche, and to understand how a business runs, how it operates, so that it's not dead on arrival.
Thanks a lot, Joy. I agree with you completely. And I think it's a question of personal assessment. But as you say, it's just to look at the progression. So if you work in a big law firm, for instance, how many years will it take you to make partner? You're not going to make partner in 2-3 years. But I'll address a more important point, and that's the point around honing your skills, as Joy called it. I'll think more in terms of where actually you hone your skills. So what do you want? What is your broad vision? An analysis of the law firms that we have in this country, the more established ones, if you name the leading 6 or 7 law firms in Nigeria, you will find that that's half of them have their origins in a particular commercial firm that used to be around a long time ago. And what it tells you is that there was something or set of values and ideas and work ethic that they picked from that environment, or even skills or business nuances from that environment that has helped them establish and run the business the way they are running it. So it's important that you give yourself enough time to learn the technical aspects of the law, to learn the business management aspects of the law, to learn the people management aspects of the law. And when you feel sufficiently equipped to go out on your own, and perhaps you have arrangements that allow you to then practice with others, then that might be the time to make the plunge. It can happen for some quicker, it can happen for some a long time later. But I just think that the most important thing is that you feel that you've gained as much general, broad knowledge about the practice of law. And that's why I think that this particular topic is should be big on our agenda, because you find that people get upset with their bosses, they walk away, they set up a law firm somewhere without any thinking around what they want to do, without any thinking about their values, what difference they want to make, how they want to influence the profession, their practice, how they want to service their clients, without even a good understanding of service delivery and setting definite service delivery standards. So that's my take on that point. Yeah. But We've come to the end of today's session. We've taken more than the hour that was allotted to us. I must say a big thank you to Joy, Harrison, Abiola. Joy, I mean, it's obvious that you took time to prepare this paper. The industry that went to it must have been quite a lot. And I thoroughly enjoyed the presentation myself. Very upset that I had a bit of issues at some point with the audio, but that was because I was really truly enjoying it. And people are still on. A schedule of people are still on listening. That shows that they found the session quite illuminating. People are saying great presentation, thank you, and I agree with them completely. Thank you very much, Joy. And rest assured, we'll invite you again, and I hope you will say yes when we invite you.
Absolutely. The future of the legal profession is bright. It's very, very bright. We just need to get more innovative. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tobenga.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, delegates. We're back again on Thursday, so see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.